And we're live! Welcome along, everybody. For those that don't know me, let me introduce myself. Hello, my name's Gavin Hoey. I'm a professional photographer, photographic educator, and you're watching the YouTube channel for Muse from Lumesca. Welcome along. Wow, it's been fun getting here. If you can see and hear me okay, pop a note in the comments, say hello, let us know where you're watching from. If you can't see us and you can't hear us, don't worry about it, it's fine. Well, don't have to comment, that's okay. So, as far as I know, it's just us. It's kind of really weird, but it's nice to know that there are people out there. I know we've seen a few comments already come in, so I'm not here on my own. I do have a few people. Most importantly is the awesome Sam on the Super Switcher. Do you want to say hello, Sam?
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I can see there's lots of people here from all over the place. The most exotic one so far, I reckon, is Bali.
Bali?
Amazing. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Germany, Aberdeen, Suffolk, New Forest, France, Norfolk. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
So, yeah, it's lovely. It's great to see all your comments. And yeah, just let us know. Oh, hi, Sam. Thanks. I think they can hear us. Brilliant.
Fantastic. Oh, that's really good. It's always nice to know that people are joining us, and we'll get people coming through this session, I'm sure. So if you're watching us on the rewind as well, don't forget to say hello in the comments too, because although this is live, which is interesting and interesting fun, it's also going to be available for a rewatch. So if you have to bail halfway through, don't worry. You'll be able to watch it again. Lumesca will make it available, I'm sure. Okay, good. So what are we going to be doing today? Well, today's quite exciting. It is really exciting because I'm going to be doing some portraits. Yeah, which is really exciting for me because I am a portrait photographer. It's been challenging to do some portraits, to say the least, over the last few months, but things are definitely getting better. We have taken a ton of precautions today. Today, we have all had our coronavirus tests and we all passed. Yay, that's really good. We've had vaccines. It's been really quite exciting. So yeah, we have a whole portrait shoot to do, and we've got an amazing model makeup artist to join us as well. So we should really get going, I guess. But I'm just going to check in with Sam. Any problems at the back? Anything I need to know?
No,
okay?
That's great. Lots and lots of people watching. Yeah, it's great. Lots of nice comments.
Smashing. Okay, so this session is being sponsored by Lumesca, so I'd like to thank them before I forget later on, so I'll do it now. And also BenQ. My BenQ monitor over here, and also X-Rite, and we'll be using these products through the session. it's a good excuse for me to take some portraits, really. But we'll be using those products through the session, and if you're around on Monday, we'll be going through the post-processing side of what I'm going to be shooting today. I say that, we haven't taken the photos yet. This could go horribly wrong. I mean, you might be doing my holiday photos on Monday. Who knows? No, we'll be fine. We'll be okay. Okay, so I've got some lights to play with as well. We're going to start the session by using speedlights. Okay, and then I'm going to move into studio lights, and somewhere in the middle, I'm going to mix the two together. That's the idea. I'm going to try and take some photos that have some color. That's kind of useful. This whole session is kind of geared towards a color palette. Yeah, I think we should just crack on, really. What's that? Oh, I didn't turn that camera on.
I thought I put a nice jaunty angle in there and he hasn't actually turned the camera on.
You see? Did I mention these things are live? I was trying to save the battery is what it was. There you go, try that now.
Nobody there now.
There's no, oh yeah, well yeah, you have to wait for the there it is. The joys, where am I? The joys of live. These things happen live. That's the way it goes. Okay, so I've got, yeah, I suppose that's a good idea because then you could see what was going on. Sam's so good at this, you see. She's really good. So I've got a speedlight and I'm going to set this up for some fairly straightforward basic lighting, and then hopefully we'll make it a bit more dramatic as we go along. So let's pop a light over here. Let's spin it around and let's point it at the wall. Good tip is to make sure it's turned on. That's really useful. And then I'll get a camera and make sure that's turned on. And whilst I'm doing this, I think we should get a model. And we haven't just got any model. We have got the awesome, the amazing Sophie Daly. Come on in, Sophie. Woo, Sophie. So just confirm, Sophie, you've had a coronavirus test and you're not, no.
I'm all good.
Yeah, that's good. You too. You've had a vaccine as well. Yeah. So we've done our level best to try and make this as COVID safe as we possibly can, which is terrific. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Well, the first picture I'm going to take, and this is the first picture I recommend everybody takes if you're doing anything with flash. This is the most important picture by far. If you miss this step, you could come unstuck. So I'm going to choose some settings. I'm using an Olympus camera. Doesn't particularly matter for this session. And I'm going to dial in some settings pertinent to my camera. So my ISO, native ISO for Olympus is 200. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be at my flash sync speed. Mine is 250th of a second. Your mileage may vary. And f5.6, middle of the road as far as the aperture goes. What I'm interested in is what the camera sees at those settings without any of these lights firing. So if I turn that off, here we go, Sophie, best picture of the day coming up. Certainly the most important picture of the day. Now this could be interesting. So Sam, yeah, you've done it, haven't you? You're way on the ball. Yeah. That's my screen. That is it. That's as good as it gets. You can do picture in picture, by the way. It's yeah. So that black screen wasn't a black screen. That was a photograph, just a very, very underexposed photograph. What I'm interested in is, can I see anything in the room when the flash fires? And if the answer is no flash, no photo, I'm in control of the light. Now, when it comes to color, we want consistency of color. We want accuracy of color. And if you allow the room lights to contaminate your shot, you're not going to get that. You're going to have weird color casts that randomly change as your lighting in the room changes. So shot number one, remove the lighting. Job's a good one. So, over there. Okay, cool. So with that done, I can now move forward. I know the camera will only see the flash lighting that I'm in control of. Okay, Sophie, let's do something a little bit better. Let's make sure this is firing. Oh, turn it on. There we go. And we're good. Okay, Sophie, here we go. Okay, that is really bright because when I turn it on, it reset itself. Don't show that one, Sam. Only show the good ones. Damn you, look, you did as well. Okay, there it is. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. That should do. I think that's enough, isn't it? Do we need to do any more than that? Should we stop? No. Okay, not a good start, but a start nonetheless. We've proved that the flash fires, the camera won't see anything but the flash, but what we haven't proved is that we can take a good, colourful photo. So I'm going to make this a little bit better, and I'm going to make it a bit better by moving the light around. So I'm going to take this light, I'm going to shove it right into the corner of my small home studio, right in there. There we go. and we're going to pop it somewhere like that.
I had a question.
Oh yeah, far away.
Cliff just asked what lens you're using.
Okay, hi Cliff, good question. So as an Olympus user, I am using Olympus lenses. I am using the Olympus 12 to 40mm Pro lens. It's kind of my go-to lens. If you're a full frame 35mm shooter, that equates to the focal length of a 24 to 80mm lens. Okay, so standard sort of portrait length. Okay, so I've moved the light around to the side, and when I move it around to the side, we're going to get way more dramatic lighting. I mean, the difference is really marked, quite the dramatic shot. But we're going to do better than that. We can definitely do better than that. So I'm going to do a little bit better by adjusting a few things. I'd like a tighter beam of light. Now I can do that by adjusting the zoom on the flash head. The zoom constricts the light down, stops it spreading so wide. It also makes the light brighter, so I'll make sure I turn the flash down ever so slightly. So where before it was a flood of light, now it becomes more of a beam of light. But why stop there? Let's keep going. So we can make this even tighter. So I'm going to use some of my favorite little bits of kit. I'm going to use the Rogue flash benders. And this one is the large. Pretty sure it's the large. It's written in the inside. Nice big writing for us old folks. That's the large. It is a little, it's like that. You roll it up. It's got a bit of Velcro built into it. Bingo. What I now have is a snoot. So I've got a little snoot. I'm going to stick that over the top of my speedlight. And that is going to take the same light, but really tighten up the beam. So let's just pop this on, strap it onto the side like that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the wrong place just to show you how not to do it. I'm really good at showing people how not to do things. That's one of my many talents. Here we go. Okay, so here's the result. Yeah, it's a tighter beam of light, but it's in the wrong place. The tighter you make your beam of light, the more accurate you have to be with its placement. So that's as close to the wall as I can get it. I'm actually going to ask for a bit of help from Sophie. Should we go for a wide shot or an overhead shot, or because it's going to be quite high? I don't know which one it's going to appear on. Or try the side one. Maybe that one. Okay. So Sophie, when you look down here, can you see the speed light through the end of that?
Slightly.
Okay, slightly. What about?
That's it.
About there?
Yeah.
Okay. So it works like this. If Sophie can see the speed light through the snoot, the light will reach her eyes. It's a simple thing, but it really works. I should have actually taken a test shot before making that statement. Ta-da! It really works. Okay, it does work. So that's quite nice. I like that. We've got the nice beam of light. We've lost a little bit of power because we've got a modifier on there, but we get the idea. What we've also done is we've lost detail in the shadows. I mean, my BenQ monitor is good. It shows me a lot of detail in this image really, really clearly, but even I can't see anything on the monitor in the shadows, and on your version on YouTube, good luck with that. So I'm going to add a little bit of fill light. My fill light's going to come, oh, I've got sandbag on it. Oh, sandbag on the bottom.
I've been asked a couple of questions.
Okay, go for it, because I catch my breath. It's heavy.
Linda asked, is it a bare bulb flash before you?
Okay, it's one of, which camera am I on? It's one of these. There you go. It is just a speed light. That's got a little diffusing thing on it, but it's just a speed light.
And Ishwara asked, what power is the flash?
I've absolutely no idea. I'm weird with powers. I don't really get too hung up on them, but I can tell you it's at 1/16th power. It's at the power that's required to get the exposure. That's the best and unhelpful answer. It's at 1/16th power is the actual answer. Okay, so what I've got is a second light, and I'm going to turn the first one off, just have the second light, and I'm just going to bounce it off my white ceiling. You can't see it, but just up there is a white ceiling. And if I bounce the light off of that, we're going to get a really, really, I mean, look at that. I mean, wow, huh? Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? No, not really. That is just a wash of light. I can turn the power way down, way down. I only want this to be a fill light. This just needs a hint of something, maybe a little hint more than that. And we're getting there. Okay, so there, a little hint of Sophie coming through. So then, if I turn on my main light, here we go. Now we get the hint of Sophie with the flash lighting her face as well. And these are great shots, but they're not colourful. And the whole purpose of doing this was colour. So let's throw some colour into the scene. So for colour, I'm going to add in one of these, my little gel kit for speedlights. It's another Rogue product. These are terrific because they actually fit really well. Available from Lumesca and all good camera stores. Lumesca are great. They're a distributor for a lot of the stuff I actually use. So this is a great match for me. Okay, so this is blue gel. The blue gel is going to add a wash of blue to this shot. So where before it was kind of a little bit on the okay side, it's the colour that was sort of right, this is going to be a lot more blue. That's the idea. However, there is a slight downside to this, and I'll show you what it is. I'm going to do one test shot. Here we go, Sophie. Okay, here's the problem. It doesn't really do very much. In fact, it's done the opposite. I've lost detail in the shadows. So what's going on? Why have I suddenly got less than I had before? Well, okay. I'm getting old. I need my glasses. Hang on. Okay, so which camera am I on? On this camera? So this is the gel that I'm using, if I can come in here. It's called Just Blue, and you can notice it's got an f-stop loss written on it. This gel will lose you 2.5 stops of light. That's why everything's darker, because when you apply the gel, you lose 2.5 stops of light. So you know that, it's written on the gel, you can adapt for that. So I can add in a fair chunk of light. And suddenly, we're going to get a blue shot. Yes, there we go. Okay, let's try a few pictures like that. Fantastic. Superb. And this is where working with an experienced professional model and an awesome makeup artist really pays off, because literally I can just stand here and take photos, zoom in and out occasionally. Happy days. Isn't that so much fun? Okay, that's really nice. But that's not the only colour in the pack, and we want to make these colourful. Now, the only downside is, anybody see where I put the gel? There they are. Okay, right, so the next one out of the packet is red. Okay, so the red, here we go. This is one of these. It will eventually focus, probably. Yeah, there we go, bright red, it says, with 3.5 stops of light loss. So the red absorbs more light than the blue. This should be fun. I wonder what my power was. It was at 1/16. 3.5 stops, 1/16 becomes 1/8, 1/8 becomes 1/4, 1/4 becomes a half. I'm almost at full power. So this is where we get to find out how heat-proof these gels are. Okay. Right, so let's pop this on and attach the snoot. There we go. And we'll pop it back up. So Sophie, can you see about right? Yeah, okay. Something like that. So in my mind, what should happen is a nice strong beam of light of a red colour comes through, and we have a blue wash of light in the background. Yeah, we do indeed. Wow. Okay, that is red. Technically correct, but not necessarily right. So I've turned it down a little bit just to try and blend them in a little better. I'm going to turn up the wash of light a little higher. There we go. Now we're getting some good colour. Okay, try moving my feet. Try not to be the lead feet syndrome. Okay, this is really good. Now, I have to remember that I'm actually doing this live, because this is where I get carried away and think, oh, this is so much fun. Okay, that's good. We should probably stop. How are we doing, Sam? Any questions?
We had Barry ask, how do we know what exposure you are taking?
Okay, Barry, I could use a flash meter, do that whole thing. That would mean getting quite close to Sophie, trying to avoid that. So I'm doing, test it, take a shot, is it right, adjust as necessary. I'm using a bit of experience, a little bit of taking test shots, combining them together and getting the exposure to match my requirements. So if you missed it earlier, I'm shooting ISO 200, 250th of a second. Those are the native settings for my Olympus camera. Your mileage may vary. And f/5.6. Okay, good question. Okay, that's kind of fun. How are we doing on time? 20 minutes, that's pretty good. We should probably try mixing it up a little bit and doing something a little bit different. So let's turn off some lights and let's get some bigger lights in, much as I enjoy the speed lights. I'm going to pop that one out the way. Carefully put my gels away. So what I want to do is to switch to this one. Oh, let's bring it in. Okay, this is a proper studio light. Okay, oh, thank you. Proper studio light. So this is an Elinchrom ELC 500. Who's the distributor in the UK for Elinchrom? Oh, let me think. That'll be Lumesca. Yeah, it's one of their brands. Now, I've started out, my very, very first flash, proper flash, was Elinchrom. So this is fun for me. I borrowed these. These are actually really good. And yeah, it's nice to go back to Elinchrom. They asked me what I wanted. So what I've got is 2 of these and perhaps more importantly, a softbox. And my go-to softbox is one of these. It is roughly a 2 foot by 3 foot, near enough, give or take a few centimeters. So this is my standard size softbox for working here inside of the studio. And it is pretty versatile. We're going to push it to its usable limit because, well, that's what I often do. Let's see what we can do with these things. And I'm going to use it as a background. So am I in the shot? I'm just about in the shot. Where's my arm? There's my arm. So we're going to use this round about there, something like that. Now, there's a really good tip. Doesn't matter what brand of flash you use, remember to turn it on before you start using it. The Elinchrom has an often button. Often? And make sure the often button is set to on, because if it's set to off, it doesn't do anything. Okay, there we go. So my flash is on. We're good to go. I'm actually going to switch transmitter as well. I'm going to be using the Elinchrom Skyport. So let's turn that one off. Pop that out of the way. And we're good to go.
I had a question
Go for it.
From Ken asking what you're using on top of the camera to control the multiple flashes.
Good question. Okay. So Ken, good question. I'm using, here we go. So with the Elinchrom flashes, I am using, probably that way up would make more sense, an Elinchrom Skyport. With the Godox base flashes, I'm using, well, this one's from Flashpoint from Adorama, but various other brands are available. You have to use the right transmitter. So one of the things about flashes is there is yet to be some agreement amongst the photography community, one flash transmitter to rule them all. At least if there is, I don't know about it. So you have to use the transmitter that works with the system that you've got. I'm going to make that a little bit more tricky because I'm actually going to mix one flash, speedlight in this case, with a different brand of flash, Elinchrom. And I'll show you how, if you're going to put your toe in the water and you're just going to buy one flash, you can still use your other flashes as well. So good question, Ken. We will cover that. Where are we going to be? Right, Sophie, you're going to stand in front of that. Any other questions, Sam, or I'm going to keep talking?
No, you go for it.
Okay, so the plan is try and make a white background. Not a white background, a pure white background, commercial white background. And we're going to use the softbox. It's a classic technique, and if you do it right, it's a fairly straightforward technique. And then we'll try and take that technique and sort of mix it up a little bit into something a bit more interesting and a bit more colourful, and I'll talk about colour management. Steady now. That sounds dull. Trust me, it's not. It's kind of important. Okay, so Sophie, are you ready? My camera settings, before anyone asks, still the same. ISO 200, 250th of a second, f 5.6. Nothing's
Actually
changed.
got a question for Soph.
But what? No, wait, no, hang on a second. She'll charge us more. Go on.
Where did you get those killer boots?
They were Topshop a couple of years ago.
Topshop a couple of years ago.
Oh, killer boots. Look, they make her too tall.
Everyone loves them.
Topshop from a couple of years ago. Yeah, I mean, they're just too tall for you, really. So you should definitely wear shorter boots. Okay, so yeah, where are we? Let's make sure this works. Quick tip, turn the transmitter on as well. That would be really good. So just going to turn this on. I'm going to use exactly the same settings. I'm not going to change my settings at all. I'm going to put the flash into, well, it's manual mode. There's no TTL going on here. And I'm going to set it, well, it's going to go to 1. It's going to go really low down. It goes to 0.1 as its starting position. So this is 1 stop more than its minimum. Okay, Sophie, here we go. Okay, so if I take this picture, what I get is kind of a white background, but it's not quite what I'm after. You can see a little bit of bleed coming over Sophie's shoulders, as in bleed of white light. So Sophie, this close to the background is too close. If you can take a little step towards me. Okay. As Sophie steps towards me, my background effectively becomes smaller. Now, had I got a bigger studio, I could step back. And if I could step back, I would get compression. I'd have to crop in or zoom in, but that's where you can compress backgrounds by stepping backwards. Step back, zoom in. Unfortunately, this is as big as my studio is. So this could work, but with a little bit of extra work involved. So let's add a little bit of extra work. The first thing I'm going to do is add some extra light. Here we go. I'm going to take this off. I think I'll take the red gel off as well. Just a crazy idea. Let's pop those over there out the way. And I'm going to add in, I'm still using a speedlight, so I'm going to add this. So this is the Rode Flash Bender XL. It's my favorite one of the range, which is why it's been used and abused. It's mine, it works, it's great, it does the job. These are not sexy products. What they are is really practical products. So yeah, it's great. Okay, put that on there and attach this on. So it just takes a moment to attach to my speedlight. Something like that.
Got a question about your tethering software.
Oh yes.
This is Stephen, what are you using?
Hi, Stephen. So I am using Olympus and the joys of live, I can't get my words out. I'm using an Olympus camera, so I'm using Olympus software. So I'm tethering with a Tether Tools, orange Tether Tools cable into my BenQ monitor. My BenQ monitor has a USB that's attached to a computer, so it tethers together. And on the computer, it's running Olympus Capture and Olympus Workspace software. Capture captures it, Workspace displays it. And yeah, it's kind of bomb-proof, really. I shouldn't say that. It's usually bomb-proof. Okay, so let's pop that over there. Right, okay, so here's the plan. We're going to create a sort of beauty lighting look, kind of. A little bit beauty, a little bit not. So we're going to pop that around about there. It's not full-on beauty. If we were doing proper beauty lighting, we'd have reflectors below and all of that stuff. But it's like coming from above, fairly front onto Sophie like that. Okay, so how do I make these flashes work? Because I've got an Elinchrom flash and I've got a random speed light that's not an Elinchrom. So how I make them flash is how I have this speed light in its slave mode, which is a terrible name, but it basically means it looks for the light from the Elinchrom and it will fire the flash when it sees the light. So it's in its S1 mode. Most flashes have a similar mode. So I'm using the Elinchrom Sky port to do this. And the reason I'm using that rather than the transmitter for the speedlight is because I'm lazy. I mean, genuinely lazy. If you think about it, if I need to adjust the power, I can only adjust one of the lights. I'd rather do the one that's furthest away remotely because I just have to walk up and do this one. Okay, so that's kind of the thinking behind this. Okay, Sophie, here we go. So, Sophie, you're definitely tall. Hang on. I'm sure when we did this earlier, you were shorter. Okay, that's better. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, it's straight off, no kind of metering. Is that skill? Is it blind luck? I think it's blind luck, but I'm going to take skill. Okay, so that works quite nicely. We've got some beautiful detail. I mean, it looks great on my little BenQ monitor here, looks fantastic. But when I go in and have a close look, the detail is really there. Absolutely gorgeous detail. Sophie, Hollywood makeup artist to the stars. Well, some stars, but you can... Yeah. You undersell yourself, Sophie, you really do. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's not too bad at all. I can probably turn that background light down a bit. So I'm going to turn the background light down. Let's just take it down a little bit. I'm going to take it literally half a stop. Down a little bit. And that should just give me a bit more contrast in these shots. Yeah, that's much better. There we go. Beautiful detail right into the eyes. Absolutely stunning. So that works very nicely. We've made the Elinchrom work as a white background. Yeah, there's a bit of cropping, but I can live with that. The thing is, what about the color? So if you're photographing people, color is critical. We don't notice color shifts on inanimate objects because we don't know the color. And even though we come in a vast variety of colors, somehow we seem to be able to notice when skin tones aren't right. So I'm going to take you through what I do here to make sure that I get as close as I can in camera, and then what I'm going to do on Monday to help you make sure that you definitely nail correct skin tones. So it all starts with this. I'll come closer. Okay, so this, that way up, is my ColorChecker passport. Oh, I suppose you could check whether I white balance my video camera, I've just realised. So, I have. So this is the ColorChecker passport. It is a swatch pack of colours. This is the version 2. The version 2, which also has 2 grey cards for different methods of getting your exposure right. But I like to use the grey cards for something much, much simpler than that. Let's just get them open. There we go. So I use these as a very basic, very rough and ready white balance. So in-camera white balance, rather than relying on the standard white balances, I use these. So Sophie, I'm going to give you that way up. Thank you very much. So it's really important that when you do this, you're in the same light that's lighting your subject. Same light source, the right powers, everything is set, the right light modifier, everything is set. How you go from here is going to vary from camera to camera. For my Olympus camera, I choose one of my custom white balances. I press the info button and it says one touch white balance. So I fill the screen with the grey card and it says, do you want to use this? That's a white balance of 2700K. Allegedly, but yes, I do. So I now have an in-camera, rough and ready white balance. So when my pictures pop on my BenQ monitor, they will look roughly right. That's what I want. I want Sophie to look at those and go, yeah, that is the color I did my makeup. However, if accuracy is what you want, can I just take that off you? Thank you very much. And there are times when accuracy is everything. That's where you use these. So I'll show you how to process these on Monday. If you join me for Monday's class, I'll take you through that. But for now, I need a photo of this now because I can't do it afterwards. There is an up and a down. I've never figured out whether it matters whether it's up or down, right way round or back to front. Well, back to front actually is not a good thing. But I'm going to put it what I think is the right way round. So Sophie, I'm going to give you that to hold. And you're going to hold that right next to your face. Right underneath your chin. But that's great, not getting any makeup on it. I'm going to fill the frame, but not completely. It doesn't have to be a full frame. And there it is. Ta-da! Okay, right way around, all good. Smash in. Okay, so that's done. That is something I don't have to do again unless I change something, and we will change something for sure. But now I've got that, let's get creative. That's the technical bit. What about a bit of fun? So, I literally went through the bins. Oh, I didn't, that's not strictly true. I had a bit of a sort out. We bought this. Anybody know what it is? If you know what it is, stick it in the comments. Let's see if anybody can figure this out. So this is going to be used as part of this shot. So, you're around about 30 seconds in my past, or am I 30 seconds in your future? I've never really figured that out. So, I don't know, Sam, did we get anybody have a clue what this is?
We haven't had any answers.
No, we're maybe 30 seconds plus a bit.
I think we might be jumping the gun a little there.
Okay, so I'll tell you the story behind it whilst you haven't just. So this we had to go and buy from a specialist shop. So we went to the specialist shop, which was on an industrial estate where we live, and this stuff, by now you probably had a go. So this stuff is called mylar. It's the sort of stuff that people use in gardening. And the shop we went to buy it from is not the sort of standard gardening shop. It was a very interesting experience. Not a shop we're going back to. So this is great stuff if you're a gardener and if you're a photographer. Yeah, so mylar.
Had a few guesses.
Runners, yeah.
Someone got mylar and a thermal blanket. And,
that's it, space blanket, thermal blankets.
Yeah.
If you're running a marathon, well this is what they give you at the end. It's not silver aluminium foil, okay? It's not that. And you'll see the reason behind that in a minute. What I'm going to get Sophie to do is to wear it. Because Sophie is a professional model. There you go, Sophie. Just wear that for me. That's what I love about professional models. Right. And the good thing is, they don't think you're mad. But if they do, they hide it really, really well. Yeah. There you go. Just turn and face the camera. Yep, it's up there. Okay, so Sophie is wearing mylar as a headpiece. I mean, it's haute couture.
I tried that on last night, and I looked like I was ready to go in the oven. Soph looks amazing.
I know. Okay, let's show everybody how amazing you look. Let me get my steps. We'll come up here. So, here we go. So Sophie looks like this in it from my point of view. And we're going to get better at this. We're going to make a few changes. First of all, Sophie, you can take a little baby step towards me and a little step that way. That's perfect. Thank you very much. So that's okay, but we can do better. Here we go. There we go. So Sophie was just a little bit moved slightly away from my light. I've brought her back towards my light just to get a little bit more brightness into the shot. And we'll just go check it for sharpness and detail. Oh, it looks awesome on the monitor. Yay, BenQ, well done. That looks good. Okay, so that's all right, but you might notice there is no white background. Why on earth did I bother with all of that white background palaver if I'm not going to use it? Well, actually, I am using it. You just can't quite see it because mylar isn't fully opaque. It's semi-translucent. Light will pass through it, just not very much. So there is a little bit of a bluish tint on the photos. I'll take another one and show you. And I'm going to take that and increase it by basically pushing more light from behind through the mylar. So let's take it up a stop. Whoop, let's not fall off the steps. Okay, awesome. Just wait for that to come in before we get carried away. Okay, so we have that semi-translucent feel. We have that blue, cold feel. Remember, this is roughly the right white balance. I've gone through, done my grey white balance. It's as good as I can get in camera right now. I'm going to take it even further. Let's just really show it. I'm going to take it too far, which is something I'm good at. Another one of my talents. Here we go. So I've pushed that light up several stops, and you can see how the mylar is getting brighter. The light on Sophie is not changing. It's only the light coming from behind coming through. And there's a rather fun bluish feel to these. I'm going to go down a little bit in power because I would like a little less light, somewhere in the middle. Sophie, I don't know if you can make the top stick up a little higher. Random things you ask your model to do. That's great. Okay.
Better?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, I love that. That's terrific. And of course, if it isn't quite there, we could clone a little bit in post-processing. Maybe that's something we'll be doing on Monday. That's great. Once again, I've got to remember that you guys are actually watching this as well. It's not just me taking photos. So, as if Sophie hasn't got enough to do, I kind of figured, let's give her some sunglasses. There we go. So now she's got to work with some sunglasses whilst holding some mylar and posing. Not easy being a model. Okay, these are great. And before anybody asks, where did I get the funky white glasses from? I have far too many pairs of glasses. Sunglasses are one of those things I just acquired over the years. Oh, Sophie, this is great. Superb. Okay, and just to give you an idea what it looks like without the Elinchrom in the background, what it's actually doing to this shot. Let's just turn off the Elinchrom. Oh, of course, if I turn off the Elinchrom, I won't get that light to fire because that's on a slave mode. Ah, the joys of live. I thought, I'll just do something I hadn't planned.
It's very edgy.
It is very edgy, isn't it? For those that are just joining us, no flash, no picture. I mean, it's a good retelling of that. Yeah, I'll just turn the Elinchrom basically onto its lowest possible power. Enough to trigger the flash. Lovely. Okay, and it does quite a bit having that backlight coming through. Whoops, one more. Oh, my keyboard has gone to sleep. Yeah, there we go. So we have this lovely bluish tone coming through the shot here. Absolutely fantastic that we don't get if we don't have enough light coming through the background, where it just looks a little bit less. I mean, it's okay, it's just different. Okay, any questions? How are we doing for time? We are about halfway through, which is pretty good. We haven't got to the scary stuff yet. We are saving something to the end. So if you're just joining us, yeah, you've missed the okay stuff. The exciting stuff is, yeah, you know what's happening.
I had a comment from Brian who said that that is keeping the government from reading your thoughts. Oh. Yeah, so you should keep it on, so.
Okay. So if you've got any questions, now's a good time to get them in because I need to shift a few things around in the studio. So Sophie, if you want to just step out the way a little bit so I don't accidentally hit you with anything, drop anything or do anything daft. Okay. So, yeah, let's move on to a little bit more deliberate colour. So that was getting the colour right if you are doing portraits and you want correct skin tones. Now we're going to go in a different direction with colour and deliberately really up the colour.
I did actually have a question about the background. They just asked if that was real.
Which, this one?
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's real. It's, yeah, the things other people throw away for photographers are the best things on the world, in the planet, aren't they? I mean, they're just like, this is old, tatty old, corrugated, whatever this is with zinc coating on it. It's wonderful. And literally it was being thrown away, so it's good. Right, okay, what are we doing? Yes, I remember.
We did have another question. Just come
Far
in
away.
From Robert, who says, when's the big move? Soon, Robert, soon. Can't come soon enough.
Don't go down that road. Yeah. Right, okay, so we're going to do some work with not speedlights anymore. We're going to move into just the Elinchrom studio lights. The technique doesn't really change. The lights are going to be different, but the lighting is still the same. So if you are a speedlight shooter, you're not left out in this section. Okay. What I will do, however, is make sure I switch off my speedlights because I don't want them randomly flashing. There's another speedlight knocking around somewhere. We'll find, oh, that one, yeah, the one right in front of you. Yeah, that's it, that's good, it's off. Okay, so we need a chair for Sophie. There we go. Smash in. One chair, let's make it a little bit. That'll do, won't it? Okay, come and have a seat on the chair. Let me step out the way. So, classic lighting, your absolute classic lighting position. Model sat down, or subject sat down. You're going to get a light, you're going to pop it in front of your subject, something like that. 45 degrees. And we normally put it there. As a photographer, I'm going to be out of shot, but normally I have the light around about sort of reaching distance, just in case anybody steals my light. I like to have it within grabbing distance. That's kind of how it goes. Let's just take a shot like that. So my settings are going to remain exactly the same as they were before. Tell you what, just for the audience. There you are. There's Sophie under. Oh, you swapped the camera around, didn't you? Oh.
I have the power.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to have to stand here, so you probably will have to swap the camera. There we go. So same settings if you're just joining us. ISO 200, 250th of a second, and f5.6, and welcome to the YouTube channel of Muse by Lumesca. We are having a fun, colourful portrait session. Okay, here we go. Except at the moment, what I'm not getting is particularly colourful portraits, but we're going to work on it. But isn't it beautiful lighting? It's lovely, it's simple, it's classic, it's timeless, it's slightly underexposed. Let's just see if we can get the exposure right. There we go. There we go. And of course, exposure is just a personal thing. What you think is exposed correctly, what I think exposed correctly can be completely different things, and we can both be right. So that's okay, but it's not very colourful. What I've got back there, let's take the long route round, is the most colourful background you have ever seen. This is every colour you have ever wanted combined together, which makes it basically grey. Okay, but if you have a neutral grey or black background, the world is your oyster. So we're going to throw some colour onto there, but we're going to do a few important things first of all. And the first one is we're going to make sure that background disappears, goes black. So to do that, I'm going to move my light. I'm going to move it closer to Sophie, a little bit lower because we don't need to light the top of her head. There we go, something like that. If I move it closer to Sophie, there's something called the inverse square law, or as we like to call it, light fall off, which means I can turn the power of the light down. Here we go. In fact, even at its lowest power, wow, these Elinchroms are good. Even at its lowest power, it's just a little bit bright for my taste. I may just adjust my aperture to compensate. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's too far. Yep, that's about right, isn't it? Okay, but the background is dark, and if I get the exposure right on Sophie, let's just see. But it's not quite black. Now, on your screen, I suspect it looks black. On my BenQ, no, it's not black. It's nearly black. It's very, very close to being black, but it's not actually black. The darker I can get that background, the more colourful I can make it. So, when you're in the market for a new speedlight, always, always, always buy a speedlight with a speedlight, softbox. Always, always, always buy a softbox with a grid. Okay, these are absolutely essential bits of kit. Okay, so a grid does a couple of things. Its primary function is to reduce the spread of the light. Gives you more direction, more control. Let's just find it the right way around. There we go. Its secondary function is it actually cuts down some of the light output. Oh, it's like trying to put a bedspread on this. Hang on a minute. There we go. I tell you, if we weren't doing this live, I could absolutely put this on without even looking. Tell me you're not actually getting this in the shot, Sam. Tell me I'm out of shot and make my day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've only got the corner of it.
Marvellous. Okay, one grid. Okay, so the way it works is this. Which camera? We're on that camera up there. If the light is pointing straight at you, you will see white, the softbox surface. As it turns away, so if I actually loosen off one of these, oh, run out of hands. As it turns away, so you see nothing. Okay, light reaches you, light doesn't reach you. And it's the same from Sophie's point of view as well. If I point this at Sophie like that, Sophie, can you see any of the white of the softbox?
Yes.
Great. Sophie can see the white of the softbox, but if I stand back here, I can't see it. So less light will reach the background. Notice I didn't say no light. Light still bounces around the room. Light will still get to places. But it will also take away a bit of power, so I'm going to increase the power of the light to compensate. And I need to increase a little bit more. And it's about a stop of light usually that this softbox with grid combo takes away. But what you'll notice is that background is now deep, dark black. Okay, so how is this a colourful picture? Well, now we get to add the colour. And I'm going to add the colour by grabbing a second light. I'll be back in the shot in a second. Sophie, just entertain them for me, will you? Okay, so here we go. Second light, it is another Elinchrom light. We could do this with speedlights, but if you've got a 2 kit of Elinchrom lights, it seems a shame not to use it. So let's turn this light on. Let's pop it right in behind Sophie, pointing at the background. Lovely. Okay. And we'll just add that in on the Skyport so we can deal both lights as separate entities. So the way I've set this up is I have the key light in the softbox on group A, the main group, and then secondary light on a different group. So they're working in different groups, so I can actually control them independently. Okay, which should mean if I come around the back and I adjust the power of this one, yep, that's exactly right. Okay, I'm going to put the background light to its lowest possible power, 0.1. Okay, here we go. Okay, that is its lowest possible power. Whoa. But that's enough to give me some light on the background. It's still not a colourful picture. Let's add some colour now. Where is the colour? Okay, so quick question to the audience. What colour would you like? It's interactive unless you're watching the rewind, in which case it's not. It's too late. But if you're watching this live, you've got a choice of colours. What would you like? I'm gonna pick the one that no one's gonna choose, green. And by the time I've done that, we'll probably have a few comments. And all I'm gonna do is use a bit of gaffer tape, stick a bit of gaffer tape onto my gel and stick this onto the reflector. Boom, there we go. It is on. Okay, Sophie, here we go. And what we get is a colourful background. Yay! It's so simple. Okay, any comments, any preferences from the audience? Sam, you're the arbiter of the audience.
Red.
Red. Anything else?
Pink.
Oh, come on.
Red and green stripes.
I knew someone was going to do this. I knew this was a bad idea.
Yellow, purple.
Yellow. Let's try, yeah. Okay, they're all in there. I guess we're going to say all of them. Let's go with yellow. Okay. I mean, if you want something, if you're missing the sunny weather, yellow is the colour for you, because this, here we go, is sunny yellow, but that's at its lowest possible power. Brace yourself. Let's take this up. Let's take it up a little bit. Lowest possible power. Let's take it up 2 stops. Yeah. That should do the job. Okay, here we go. Whoa. Now we're getting sunny. What the heck? What happens if we go to maximum power? I guess the lights dim in the studio. Let's see how that goes. All the way to 6. Okay, I'll tell you what not to do if you're going to do that. Make sure you adjust the right light. Did I mention this is live and that things can go wrong? What was I set on? I think I was down here somewhere. Okay, it does help to make sure you adjust the right light, but I'm going to max it out anyway. Max power. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Okay, back to the correct Sophie. And you'll notice that the back of Sophie is starting to get white. So now we're starting to get almost to pure white with quite a lot of bleed. Basically, colours are the amount of light you throw at it. So somebody asked for pink. If I put a red gel on there, pink is just a very, very bright red. Now, it's best to do it with a white background if that's really what you want. Throw red gels onto a white background.
So we've got a few questions.
And that'll give you pink. Yes, far away.
Colours. So Anne asked, can you use the gels instead of the acetate sheet?
Can you use the gels instead of the acetate sheets? If it covers, that's a good question actually. Let me just see if I can just bring this around. So, really, really good question. When it comes to colour, this is what you want to be. This is where you can see my gel is covering the light, and it's covering it completely. There's no gaps. There's no kind of weird bits with light leaking out. So whatever you're going to use, it needs to completely cover the surface of your light source. Any little gaps, even a small gap, will be enough to give you some weird, odd colours around the edges. So yeah, you can. I don't think you could put one inside, but in theory, I guess you could fit one inside of the reflector in this case. Make sure you keep your light ventilated. I know these Elinchroms have got LED modelling lamps, which, trust me, if you do anything with gels, that is just the best thing ever. Because I used to melt all of my gels on the modelling lamp, but the flash tubes get super hot. So if you have anything that's touching the flash tube, you're doomed.
So Alan said, is there a chance of colour cast from the green when you were using the green getting onto Sophie's skin?
There is. A very good question, Alan, and there is a very strong chance of that. 2 things you can do to avoid it. Number 1, use less power, so it's not so bright, less light bounces off the background. Number 2, buy a bigger studio. Sam, I'm talking to you. So, just saying.
Not listening.
A bigger studio would mean I can get further away from the background, so light fall off, the inverse square law, we wouldn't get light contamination in the same we would do in this limited space. And we're limited even more because we've squeezed a whole bunch of live streaming cameras in here, just for the fun of it, I guess. Okay. Right, okay, so I'm going to pop that down to a less powerful level than it was before. Okay, and randomly, I just changed the wrong one. I didn't just change the wrong one. I did just change the wrong one, I think I did. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay, although if you want a silhouette, I've got it for you. So this is really nice. So the red works really nice. I love the red. Red is a great colour to work with. So can you put your red jacket on just for a second? Okay, so we requested Sophie have a whole bunch of clothes, and one of them was a red jacket, which should look really good when it comes to the red background. So I'm down here, aren't I? We should look really good with the red background. There you go. I don't think they wanted to watch me. I think I'm just in the way. Okay, that's great. I'm going to adjust this, Sophie. Here we go. Okay, so this is great. So we've got some really bright, colourful pictures coming through now. So the colour is really starting to pop. Love that. But is that the best position of the light? So one of the mistakes I made as a photographer for years was finding a position where am I? Finding a position where the light works and then not adjusting anything, just getting stuck into the same thing over and over again. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move the light. I'm going to change the position of the light. So let's get this light higher up. I'm not sure which camera angle will work, Sam, but you can try a different... oh, there we are.
Sorry, I was reading the comments.
Hang on.
So someone asked, it's Matt, what would happen if you stacked different coloured gels on one light source, for example, green and blue gels on one light? Yeah, what would happen, it would be exactly the same as if you mixed coloured paints. So you'd blend the colours together. So green and blue makes, I can't think, I'm busy, but it makes a colour. What does it make? Greeny blue colour.
Greeny blue colour, yeah, it's sort of cyany colour, wouldn't it? Yeah, somebody will put it in the comments. Okay, so yeah, it's just like mixing paints together. You will get a random colour. So quite often if I need an orange and I don't have an orange gel, I'll put a red and a yellow together to make an orange colour. Okay, so what I've done is I've moved the light. So now it's elevated up in the air. Here we go. Let's just try that again. It's going to put a different light pattern on Sophie. It'll change the pattern of light. That looks pretty good. So now it's coming from more of an above position, and this works really well. Sophie, do you want to look into the light for me? As Sophie looks into the light, we get some fantastic light in her eyes. I mean, let me just jump in and show you what I mean. If we could just go back one. If I can go back one. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous, absolutely stunning detail, gorgeous colours, really nice light in Sophie's eyes. But is it the right colour? So here's the thing, I've changed something. I've changed the light source. That means that all of the work I did earlier when I used the ColorChecker Passport, it's going to be different now. Now, depending on how accurate you need your colours to be, it could be very different to the point where you need to do a full ColorChecker Passport, which is what we're going to do. It could be close enough. Everybody's needs are different. For me, if I've changed the light to something completely different, I'm going to redo my little ColorChecker passport, possibly the grey card, but if I want extreme accurate skin tones and consistency from one light source to another, this is the tool for the job. So this is my X-Rite ColorChecker passport. Sophie, it is now your X-Rite ColorChecker passport, temporarily. And once again, I'm going to use the same light in the shots that I'm using for my editing. Okay, that's pretty good. I may just take my exposure up because I want it a little brighter. Okay, and that's pretty good. I like that. I think, however, I'm looking at it now and thinking there's a couple of things I'm going to change, actually. Let me just give you a pair of sunglasses. We must have, oh, we have a pair of sunglasses. All this flashing lights is bad for models' eyes, probably. It's not, but sunglasses, I kind of like this. Okay, Sophie, just look up into the light for me. Okay, so this is kind of fun. These sunglasses have a reflective coating. If you look at me, Sophie, if Sophie looks at me, I don't really get much going on. But if you can just look at the light, I'm going to turn the modelling lamp on so I can see it, and I'm going to guide you. If you can look a little to your left, that's the way. Hold it right there. Great stuff. I can actually get some interesting reflections. Whoop, there's a picture of the wall, because that's what we wanted. Yep, picture of the wall. And you're seeing a reflection of the grid. So just to mix it up a little bit, let's take the grid off. When I take the grid off, I have to remember to adjust the power of the light. So let's take the power of that down about a stop. Here we go. And again, Sophie, you're going to look at the light for me. Fantastic. Okay. Really good. And because I've now got it where I want it to be, this is actually, I think, the lighting I want. It shouldn't make a difference, but I'm going to do it anyway. You can never have too many pictures of the ColorChecker passport. Yeah, that's better. Happier with that. Perfect. Okay, good. Done. Okay, so that's going to give me a reference for this light. Let's change things around a little bit, because there is some red in this shot, and red can really throw cameras out. Let's add a bit more red. Let's take this out the scene. So, Sophie, I'm going to ask you just to step aside whilst I move a few things around.
Got a question for Sophie, actually.
She may need to shout because you're off mic.
Yeah.
But
that's fine, we can shout. Do you have any posing tips?
I would say just watch other models. That's how I learn myself.
So watching other models, and you are very dancey, aren't you?
I used to dance when I was younger, so I'm kind of used to that movement as well.
Very fluid. Your movements are very fluid. So, yeah. Okay, lovely. Thank you. You need someone to do that, don't you, Gav? You need an assistant, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Maybe in the next studio. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to change this background, and I want to have a really colourful background. Now, we could spend time lighting it. We could spend time painting it. That's not a bad idea. I've got a quicker way, because we only have 20 odd minutes left. I'm going to be using this. Okay, we're going to be doing, it's all wrapped up, fabric. We have loads and loads of fabric in the studio, far too much fabric. And this is a lovely piece of red fabric. And I'm going to pin this across the top of my background. Okay, here we go. So let's just pin it up. Now, I'm going to try and do this reasonably quickly, but I'm also going to try and be careful because this metal is a little sharp in places, and we really don't want to have an accident live on the stream.
So James just asked if your grey background was paper or fabric. So I'm guessing it's the one that you just rolled up. Yeah, that is a paper background. I think it's storm grey, something like that. So yeah, mid-grey background. And the reason I chose storm grey over any other type of grey, because there are a lot of greys out there, was because that was the one that was in stock when I needed it. Not saying it's the best,
just use what you have and make the most of it. And when you're changing the colour, it's not important, but it's slightly less important if you're throwing gels at it. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that amazingly swooshy background?
It's a technical
talent. Yeah, it's not easy doing swooshy backgrounds, you know. I think that's pretty much it. Right, okay, so that is lovely. We're going to get Sophie in, and Sophie is going to... In fact, Sophie, why am I doing this? Here we go, you do that, I'll set the lights. One of us has got to do the lights and one of us has got to do the fabric. I don't mind which way round we do it. So Sophie's going to wrap herself up in fabric. Let's just turn this guy off a second and move it around. And I'm going to put a light into the scene. So I'm going to stick with the Elinchrom light. I'm going to pop it in a fairly sort of dramatic, edgy shot position like that. Lovely. Turn it back on again, make sure it's all on. Okay. I'll turn the modelling lamp off. We don't really need the modelling lamp, and it just slightly throws the live stream video a bit. But I do need a camera. That would be good. So I've taken away one of the Elinchrom lights. I'm going to just redo my sky port so I only have the one light to deal with, so I don't get too confused. As you can tell, that's quite an easy thing to do when you're live. At least it is for me. But other than that, my settings are going to be the same. I'm still ISO 200, my Olympus native ISO. I'm still 250th of a second. Somewhere along the line, I changed to f8. That's where I guess I'll stay. And if you're just joining us, welcome along to the Muse from Lumeska's YouTube channel. Okay, so, oh wow, okay, that was quick. Right, you ready?
You're ready.
I was filling. Okay, so a quick little shot. I need to work out the exposure, so we'll take one shot at whatever it's currently set to. That's a really good place to start, whatever it's currently set to. If whatever it's currently set to is correct, and it looks about right, you're either really good or lucky. Either is perfectly permissible. I'm going to change position because, as we've discussed, when you move around, you get very different feel to the picture. So simply moving from one side of Sophie to the other, shooting into the light, I get a very different feel to the shots. And I think I prefer that. I love a little bit of shadow. I love a little bit of drama. There's loads of colour in here, which is really nice. Okay, that's terrific. Okay. Let's try a different position again. Keep moving. As long as my light is at an angle, what I'm trying to avoid, and I'll do it just to show you, I'm trying to avoid this kind of shot where light is straight and direct. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't have the drama of coming in with light from an angle. Shadows are really essential in photography. They give shape, form, 3 dimensions. Adding shadows really makes a difference. Don't be afraid of the shadows. There's a cursor there. That's not part of Sophie. That's just move that out of the way. So this works really well. We'll do a couple more like this and then we'll mix it up because I really want to get to the last little bit.
We've got a question from Ken saying what material is that because it doesn't appear to crease.
It doesn't, does it? I don't know what it is. It's
very stretchy, isn't it?
It's not. No, I don't think it's stretchy.
Soft.
A little bit of stretch. I remember buying it for the photography show, for 2020 photography show. That went well. So it's good to get some use out of it. And I remember it was called netting, stretchy netting from one of the online fabric stores. It was definitely on special offer. Otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. That's for sure. So have a look at the sort of end of roll limited bits and pieces and try and find something like that. Okay, so little. Yeah, can you bring your eyes a little this way for me? So there, hold that, that's perfect. Okay, cool stuff. Okay, so that's okay, but I've got one more idea with the fabric as I've gone to the trouble of setting it all up. Let's see if we can do something a little different with it. Where I'm going to put my camera out the way. Let's put it over here. Okay. Okie dokie. Now this is going to be an interesting one for watching live. We'll see how this goes because my plan is I'm going to get the light and put it raking light down the side of the studio here to try and pick up some of these swooshes that I so carefully spent time and effort to make for you. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to make a little V shape of fabric. So if I take the end, thank you very much. So I'm literally going to make a V of fabric, like that. Oh, Sam, well done. Yeah, there she is. Look. Very good. Okay. So this is where I have to be ambidextrous and try and do left-handed photography. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Oop. I'm going to come over here. And I'm trying to let the other fabric drape as well. That's really good. I tell you what, Sophie, can we put your red jacket on?
Yep.
It's like an oven in here now, so is it just me?
It's just you.
It's just me. That's it. The joys of the Tether Tools cable is you can see it before you try and trip on it. I've tripped over almost every cable, but have I ever pulled the Tether Tools cable out?
No comment.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from that. Yeah, we should have rehearsed the script for that one, Sophie. Okay. Yeah, okay. I've never broken it. I can definitely say that with some confidence. Okay, so these are really good. Poor Sophie is sort of locked inside a little sort of V shape of fabric. And because I'm constantly moving it, it's always changing as well. So there's always a difference. If you're going to do that, I'm going to go a little wider because that worked well. That's great. I'm going to go wider still. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Does your jacket zip up at all?
Yes.
If it's pre-lockdown and one of mine, that's, yeah. There you go. That's brilliant. Yeah. Okay. And the only reason I'm doing that, well, you'll see when I take a few pictures, is now we have red and red and red. And when it comes to colour, we've got tons of it. There we go. Love the tassels. When you put your arm out, we've got the tassels drifting down. There we go. Yeah. Fantastic. This is it. Oh, sorry. At least I only hit you with the fabric. Okay, we'll do a couple more like this. Okay. Nobody saw that. I think we've got away with that one. Okay. Right. Any questions, Sam? Oh, boy. That's fun. Let's just have a little look, actually. Just have a quick little look at that. Put my glasses on. Okay. Oh, so good. That's fantastic.
So Piotr as a comment, so great shots, I guess, could be fantastic if you add some smoke.
Oh,
it's like you
Piotr, yes. For starters, hi Piotr, nice to hear from you. Yeah, I think a little bit of smoke is would definitely add a bit to this, wouldn't it? So, should we do that? Let's add some smoke, because I get carried away just looking at the photos. Right, Sophie, if you'd like to just step out of the way, I will redo this studio.
So someone asked something about the panels. Did we treat them as Shane?
The what?
No, the panels that you've got attached, these metal corrugated. No, they just put straight up.
They are straight out of, yeah, Steve's garden.
And Sunny asked, how are you controlling the focus on the lens each time you change camera positions?
Okay, that's a good question. So, modern cameras have really come on leaps and bounds. So my Olympus camera had a firmware update about 18 months ago, which added improved autofocus. And frankly, it's doing me out of a job. It's way too good. So the eye detect autofocus, I'm using the Olympus EM1 Mark III, is just phenomenal. I mean, it really, really is good. You can see it tracking eyes and following people's faces around, and it's superb. And that's not necessarily an Olympus thing. Modern cameras have made some of the skills that I learnt back in the day, not redundant, but yeah, slightly superfluous. We take them for granted. I've taken eye detect autofocus completely for granted. It's brilliant. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm relying on technology. Okay, speaking of technology, here it is. This is the bit you're probably still waiting for if you're still with us. I mean, well done. Fantastic. This is my favourite thing in the studio. Present company accepted. This is fantastic. Smoke makes everything look better. It's fantastic. So this is a Chauvet DJ small smoke machine. It pulls 1200 watts. So no, you can't use it on location because it's 1200 watts of power. It lights up in around about 4 minutes, so it's really fast to get going. It produces a crazy amount of smoke. And today we are using CO2 effect smoke. Not actual CO2, that stuff's quite dangerous. CO2 effect smoke. That is smoke that appears really thick and dissipates really quickly. That's what we're going to be using. And we're going to be making some colourful pictures using that. That's the plan. But we can't make any colourful pictures until we've done the basics. You can't run until you've kind of toddled along a little bit. So the basics are going to be pretty familiar. We're going to set the lights up and the smoke last. Lights first, smoke last. That's how it works. Because once the smoke is in the room, it's going to be really hard to do anything else after that. Okay, so let's get my camera. Switch the tethering back on again. Okay, we're good. And Sophie, if you'd like to come and stand, there's a little kind of spot on the floor. Let's start there for you, which is roughly in the center. It's pretty good. I'm going to put some light onto Sophie, something like this. We'll go for a classic, safe, sensible lighting position, slightly elevated, slightly angled. And to save a bit of time, I'm going to put the grid on because I know I'm going to want to have the grid. I just know it. So I'll apply the grid now. Let's spin this around. Okay, here we go again.
Got a better look at you making a mess of it.
No. Oh, good. This is going to be the one where it goes perfectly. So this is definitely the one to watch. Because we can edit out the other one, can't we? We just edit it out, it'll be fine. You know, I'm sure Limesco will sort of re-edit the live video just to show the good stuff. It will be quite short as a result, but I've got absolute faith in them. Okay, so we're going to pop light up there, something like that. We're going to angle it angle it a little bit. If only I was taller. Or Sophie was shorter. I mean, that would have worked. Okay, everything's locked down. We're all good. It's turned on, even better. Okay, so it fires. I'm going to take a little test shot just to see what we get. Here we go. Okay, pretty good. Let's increase the brightness a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so we have quite a dark background. That's deliberate, that's on purpose. The dark background is there because if you have a light background, you can't really see the smoke. Smoke is only visible against a dark background. It's only visible if you backlight it as well. So you need a dark background and a light behind your subject. Okay, that's lucky because I've got two of them. Here we go. I've got two Elinchrom ELC 500s. Let's pop this in behind you. Now, this time, rather than pointing it at the background, I'm going to be pointing it at Sophie. Here we go, Sophie. So we'll pop it around about shoulder height, somewhere in that zone. And, oh, good tip is to turn it on as well. So let's just plug it in, turn it on. And once again, if you're just joining us, welcome along to the live stream. We are pretty much on our last little setup, but we have definitely saved the best and potentially the most dangerous to last. Don't worry, Sophie, I say dangerous. It's only dangerous for you. I'll be fine. Actually, it's not, is it? We've tested it and it was more dangerous for me. Yeah, I know, yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, so light behind Sophie. Reset my lights just so it picks that up. And I've got them on separate groups, same channel, separate groups, so I can independently adjust them. And for those that like to know power settings, this is on 3.1, so roughly in the middle of its power range. And the one behind Sophie, I'm going to put as low as it will go. Because if you point your camera directly at a flash, it will be bright. Okay. Oh, apparently I've pulled something out. Hang on. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. I think I pulled the USB out. I did. Yes, there we are. Okay. Okie dokie. And that's a little bit too bright for my taste because I adjusted my aperture in all the fun. There we go. Okay, so that is pretty good. You can see light behind Sophie coming through. You can see it here. Okay, so you can see the light giving her the rimlet look around on her hair. Absolutely fantastic. Looks really good. The background is dark. It's there, but it won't be there for much longer. How are we doing? We've got less than 10 minutes to go. Just enough time to fill the room with smoke. So whilst we were doing that, my smoke machine has turned on. Which camera are we on? That one? That one. Okay, here we go. Brace yourselves. Woohoo! Yeah, that's fun. It's kind of fun, and it's quick dissipating too, so it's there and then it's gone. Don't worry, there'll be plenty more where that came from. I filled the tank up, so we've got a whole tank to get through. So what I'm going to do is just put some smoke behind Sophie. Now, the Chevet has a couple of options. I could use the remote control and sort of remote fire it. I could just put it into continuous mode and just have it sort of just constantly going, which is pretty much what we're going to do. So we're going to put the smoke machine there, and it's on a nice low setting. The other reason I like the Chevet is I can have like a flood of smoke, or I can just have a little dribble of smoke, which is what we've got there. Not sure that's a technical term. Okay, so here we go. I'm just waiting for the smoke to come up behind you, Sophie. It's literally rising up your back. Okay. Fantastic. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is, if I turn that off a second, you're going to notice that the smoke in itself has a slight colour to it. So if we're looking for colourful pictures and you want blue, oh, it smells nice, doesn't it? Okay. All right. Okay. Whoa. Back on the screen, Sam. Quick question. We have a question for the audience. When you're using smoke, one of the things I absolutely recommend is that you apply some smoke scent. You can get special smoke scent. We're using American DJ smoke fluid. It has a scent. What do you reckon today's is? What scent do you think? It smells quite nice, actually. Okay. What do you reckon? What is today's magic scent? They're in our future, so I can keep talking. So the smoke has a slightly bluish tone. You can see there is a little bit of blue going on there. That's kind of nice. I like that. But it's not particularly colourful. So let's apply some colour. Let's first of all get the smoke going. And then somebody asked for purple earlier and we didn't do it. So I think we should do purple. Okay. Let's grab a little bit of duct tape. Tape my gel on. Where are we? So I've got a little bit up there. There we are. A little bit of duct tape, a little bit of gel. I'm going to gel this onto the reflector of the Elinchrom.
We've got some guesses. We've got
what we got? 2
vanillas and a pine.
Oh, pine.
Although that's toilet cleaner, isn't it? Pine slash.
No, we've not had pine. Not pine. No, we have had vanilla before.
Lavender or strawberry? Popcorn?
Popcorn. No.
Well, that would be with the theme of the...
Yeah, the Mylar. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Quick test shot like that. What's everyone's guessing?
Cinnamon roll. Now, that would be nice. Bacon. Cedarwood roast dinner.
Roast dinner.
I am really hungry, so that wouldn't help any of those that were food.
Sophie, you're closest to it. What do you reckon? What do you reckon it is? I mean, I know. If I had to pin you down,
Tutti Frutti one.
Tutti Frutti is not the right answer, but it's close. It's lemon.
Lemon? I don't think it smells lemon.
No. It smells like burnt lemon if you run it through a sugar machine, because this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Candy floss, that's a really good
candy
one.
floss. It's lemon scented.
That would be good.
But as this is glycerin, so the smoke is glycerin based, which is basically sugar. So that's kind of a where am I? I'm on that one. So it's kind of a glycerin type thing that goes with the smell as well. So lemon is the idea. If you said lemon, amazing. Okay, so quick shot like this. I can turn this off a minute. I've added the purple gel, but just like at the beginning when we were doing the Rogue Flash Bender and the gels, a gel takes away a certain amount of light. So where it was correct before, it's now not bright enough. So let's take that power up, maybe a stop, okay? And we'll try that again. Here we go. Spot the difference. Ta-da! Okay, can you see how much more colour I'm getting through? The colour hits the smoke, it scatters, it really looks great. Fantastic. Yeah, and although there's no smoke actually coming out the machine, there's still smoke in the room. It's really good. But of course, you're wearing red, so we shouldn't be doing purple. We should be doing red. Let's do red. So I'm going to change that. How am I doing for time? Oh, 5 minutes. Oh, goodness. Okay, nearly there. Okay. Right, smash it. Let's pop a bit more smoke in because you can never have too much smoke. We'll turn it up a little bit. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is red. Hang on, Sophie, because of course red will adjust the output as well. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to move my smoke machine. So, a couple of rules of photography. Rule number 1 of photography, the one you're all taught day 1 of photography school, never ever shoot into the light. An important rule that you should immediately break. Let's put the light just over Sophie's shoulder. Okay, here we go. A little bit too far. Hang on, Sophie. I want just a little hint of light just creeping around the outside. There we go. And I'm going to take that power up. Fantastic. Now we're getting some colourful smoke. The trouble with smoke is it's extremely unpredictable. You cannot plan it, you cannot control it, you can help it, you can waft it, but you cannot actually direct it. It's like working with children and animals. It is semi-controllable, but the results are superbly colourful, extremely colourful. That's quite a bright red, but just like when we were doing the grey background and we were changing the colour of that, we can adjust the intensity of that backlight with the gel to adjust the intensity of the smoke. It's getting quite smoky in here now. Okay, let's just see if we can take that down. So let's drop that down a little bit. And the more smoke you get in the room, the more it flares, the more you get. I'm going to drop the light behind you, Sophie. I'm going to tuck it in behind you because now we've got a load of smoke. Now is the time just to let the flash do the work. Okay. Oh, you can still see on the video. That's quite a surprise. Sophie, can you be square onto me and a little that way? Whoop, that's it, perfect, just there. Okay, there you go. Okay, a little that way towards the light, and now you can turn into the light. So I'm just trying to keep the flash behind Sophie, and because I'm being slightly lazy, I'm actually directing Sophie rather than moving the light. Okay, this is great. Okay, so these are great, love these. I'll do a couple more, and then we will move on to the very last bit, the bit that could go horribly wrong. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so, yeah, you might want to just step out of the way for this bit. So we are coming to the end of the session. If this goes horribly wrong and I have to take ourselves off air, I'm going to thank Lumesca for allowing me to do crazy things in my studio, BenQ and X-Rite for supporting this. I'm doing that now because, yeah, this is the bit that could go bizarrely wrong. So this section comes with a huge disclaimer. Do not do this at home. Just don't, okay? Watch it, enjoy it, leave it at that. So I've got, here we go, let's grab this. Okay. You know, you get those crazy ideas in the middle of the night where you think, yeah, that should be a good idea. Yeah, one of those.
Not sure everyone gets those.
And just me? So if you watched the beginning and the sign-up page, we had a picture of Sophie looking very different, but there was a circle behind her, and I thought it'd be really good to show you how to do that. But that picture was heavily photoshopped. The circle was added in post. I'm going to add the circle in real time, and I'm going to use... Yeah, okay. Nothing.
This is what happens when you ask him to do a bit of DIY.
Okay, so I have a drill, and I went into the garden, and I found some bits out of the garden. Whee! I think you can figure this out from here, can't you? Do I need to explain it? Do we even need to do it? I mean, maybe we don't. Maybe we shouldn't bother. I mean, we're going to run out of time. We'll have to stop. Okay, we're going to overrun by a couple of minutes. Okay, so what I've got is a couple of LED lights on the end of a piece of garden something or other. It's Sam's. I don't know what it is. I found it behind the studio, all packed up, ready to go. Yeah, I have no idea what it is.
I think it's like a planter.
There we go. Okay, and the idea is, I mean, what could possibly go wrong with this? No, I can't think of anything either. Okay, so that's the plan. It's all made of rubber, by the way. So in case you're worried, these are rubber lights. They are soft. It's fine. Okay, so how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to need a tripod. I've just realised that, and I have got a tripod. Here we go. I'm in a studio. I must have one. Here we go. So I've got a tripod, and I'm going to need a camera. And I've got one of those. Let's see if we can do it before the battery runs out. Okay, so, and then I'm going to need to work out an exposure. So you've got to think about what I'm going to do. I'm going to spin something around, and I want to get a circle. It's going to take probably half a second to do a complete revolution. I'm not going to be spinning it too fast because, I mean, I'm crazy. I'm not daft. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, let's see if we can just, we'll just make it happen. Here we go. I've got a bit of Velcro, so I'm going to Velcro the... Ooh. Whoa. I mean, I can actually hear it. Okay, so this is... I said it's more dangerous for me than you. Do not try this at home. Okay. That's pretty good. So, if I take a picture now, let's just see what we get. It's not quite what I'm after at the moment. We need to do something a bit better than this. So what we're going to do is take my shutter speed and adjust it. So my shutter speed, I'm going to take it all the way down to maybe 1/10 of a second. Let's try that. I'm going to take my aperture and open it all the way up. f2.8. Let's try that. Here we go. Okay, that is going to show me a bit more of this spinning around, but we're not there yet. We don't have a complete full spin. Although I don't mind that. Let's try 1/4 of a second. 1/4 of a second, there's more time for it to spin around. That's looking good. But the whole picture is getting brighter. Did you notice how much brighter that was than the last picture? That's because the room lights are also being recorded in that 1/4 of a second exposure. So what I'm going to do is turn out the room lights. Okay. Let's see where we go from there. That's going to make the video fun. The other camera might work better, but you can't do a picture-in-picture with it. Just try the side camera, Sam. No, it's about the same. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Now, bearing in mind, as if that wasn't dangerous enough, I'm going to fill the room with smoke. Because... let's face it, what could be more safe than a room full of smoke, cables on the floor, and spinning pieces of rubber? Yeah, okay. And if you're wondering, have I practiced this? The answer to that one is no, not really. Just kind of assumed it would be all right.
On the video, it's starting to look like a sort of nightclub.
Yeah, now you're going to not see it spinning in the way that I am because video cameras don't work like that with the shutter mechanisms. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with this. Sophie, are you happy to walk in there? Well, she's already in.
I'm in.
Okay, so you're going to stand in front of it. That's it, stay there, that's quite close enough. Lovely. Okay, yeah, here we go. I'm going to come down here. Even in the darkness, my camera can focus on Sophie. But Sophie has to stay still between each of these shots. And I think that is the exact moment my battery just died. Hang on, Sophie. Yep, brilliant. Let me just grab a battery out of there. One of those green ones. Yeah, thanks very much. Yep. Hold on 1 second. Don't save your best poses. Just going to turn the light on so you can see what's happening. Oh, gee whiz. Okay, that's enough smoke. One fresh battery. So nearly made it. We were so close. Okay.
barely see you now.
Okay, I've got a top tip for lighting smoke like this. Let me just get my tethering back up and running again. So, quick, which camera are we on? The top one? Good. Okay, so, top camera. If it's really smoky like this, think about it when you're driving in a foggy day. When you put your headlights on, you can't see, the light bounces straight back into your eyes and everything becomes blurry. When you put your dip beams on, it's better because the light doesn't bounce in. Same with flash. Direct flash, you'll just get a mess. But if you light with the flash at the side, then you will get a better, more light cutting through rather than bouncing off the smoke. It just works better. So side lighting for heavy smoke. Okay, here we go. Oh, turn off the room lighting. Otherwise, it does exactly what I just described. Exhibit A. Okay, and what's popped up on there? Okay. There we go. Awesome. So we're going to have to work a little bit on these in post, but that's Monday for you. Okay, these are great, Sophie. Sophie, stay nice and still. That's superb. Fantastic. Okay, and I'm going to adjust my shutter speed. So at the moment we're 1/4 of a second. Let's go for maybe 1/8 of a second. When I do that, oh, let's get one in focus. There we go. I end up with a different pattern to the circles. Not a complete sphere of light, but a semi-sphere. Okay, I'm going to go with a little bit more smoke just to wrap up. So we're getting to the end. So if you have any last questions, now is your very last chance to get them in. If you've made it this far, well done. This is fantastic. Just going to move this light a tiny bit. Just getting a little bit of light bleed coming through. And I'm going to take that light down a little bit. Okay, here we go. So as the smoke changes, so I need to adjust my exposure because the light is now bouncing in places that I wasn't expecting. Boom, fantastic. Nearly there, a couple more, Sophie. I've got to remember this is actually a live stream and I do have to stop at some point. Come on. And the camera's doing its best to focus. Okay, that is awesome. Okay. Coming around. Whey! And just because we can, why don't we? There we go. Brace yourself. There's something to be said for stopping before it gets too dangerous. But okay, there we go. Now, where the heck is that? No, that's my foot. Don't panic. That's all right. It's just the background. Okay. Now, I can't see. The smoke has got so bad I can't even focus on you. There we go. Yay, modelling lamps. Fantastic. Oop, yeah. Superb. This is a little faster so I can adjust my shutter speed to compensate. Oh, it falls right in between a 1/6 and a 5th. Okay, last couple. Last one, here we go. Boom, done. Right, let's turn that off before. Hooray, we survived. Let's turn the light back on. Fantastic. Wow, there we go. Wow, that was exciting. So much fun. Any comments I should be aware of, Sam? No. Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Okay, so there we go. As I say, that was fun. Don't do that at home. That's why we can do these things on live demos, because we are trained in it. Yeah, it's great fun. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the session. Sam, is there anything I need to know before I...
No, I'd just say thank you to everyone who contributed with the comments and a bit of bants, and yeah, it was good, really good. Thanks for coming along.
I'd like to thank Sophie for doing an awesome job. Yay, Sophie. I'd like to thank Lumesca for making this possible, BenQ, X-Rite, but mostly, Sam, without question, obviously, Super Switcher Sam, but mostly you guys for just coming along and making it interactive, because these live sessions, they're no fun unless they're interactive. And as always, you didn't disappoint. Loads of great questions, loads of great comments. So I really appreciate that. So all it remains me to do is to say thank you very much for joining us. Keep safe, keep taking photos. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.